From the Krusty Krab's first fry cook to Squidward's girlfriend, there are over 18 characters in SpongeBob who have only appeared once. And today, we're gonna go over what happened to every single one of them. Starting with Squilvia, who made her one and only appearance in the episode Love That Squid. And when she walks into the Krusty Krab at the beginning of the episode, Squidward can't seem to get enough of her.
Wow.
The moment Squidward tries to ask her on a date, he completely falls apart because my boy Squidward has negative ribs. But SpongeBob, being the good friend that he is, steps in and does the talking, saying a bunch of good things about Squidward and making her interested in wanting to go on a date with him. After the date secured at Squidward's house for later that night, we find out that Squidward hasn't gone on a date since what looks like the 1800s. So SpongeBob brings him over to his house to give him some lessons on how to have a successful date. SpongeBob's genius idea is to pretend to be a girl and take him on a practice date, and SpongeBob teaches him a bunch of things, like how to be a gentleman, small talk, and other stuff that SpongeBob thinks Squidward will need to know on his date.
Now this is the perfect opportunity to work on your table etiquette.
But with only 5 minutes to spare until his date, after all of his training, Squidward leaves to go out for his date, but SpongeBob runs after him trying to tell him one more thing. But it turns out, this might not have been the smartest idea, because Squidward started crashing out.
And never will be.
Does this mean there won't be a second date?
You just saw that, didn't you?
Instead of storming off, Squilvia says that he actually likes his sarcastic attitude, and they happily go off on their date. So where is Squilvia now? Well, there's been no official news about where she is, but we can actually see her appear in the 20th anniversary picture of SpongeBob, meaning that she's probably still alive. But next, whatever happened to Jim, who was actually the Krusty Krab's first fry cook, and he makes his one and only appearance in the episode The Original Fry Cook, where Jim randomly shows up for a visit in his solid gold limo to go on a trip down memory lane. As soon as Jim walks through the door, he shows why everyone in the Krusty Krab loves him. He makes the perfect Krabby Patties, aka Jim Patties. But SpongeBob wants to learn from the best and improve his Krabby Patty skills. So he learns from Jim and tries to match how to make the Krabby Patties as good as him. But no matter how hard SpongeBob tries, he can't seem to match how good Jim's patties are. Throughout this episode, SpongeBob sees how everyone else in the Krusty Krab seems to like Jim way more than him, and he feels like Jim is gonna replace his job. So he makes a resignation letter and plans to quit working at the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krab and Jim track him down and later find him in a freezer.
So it is with a heavy heart that I relinquish my position as fry cook.
And this is where Jim reveals that he's not actually wanting to replace SpongeBob's job. And Jim himself ended up quitting the Krusty Krab years ago because Mr. Krabs wouldn't give him a raise. So where is he now? Most likely, Jim went back to his solid gold house, in his solid gold bus, and started a solid gold Michelin star restaurant, where he's probably the most famous chef in Bikini Bottom, and doesn't get paid minimum wage by Mr. Krabs. Next, what happened to Janet and Marty, who only appear once in the episode I'm With Stupid. And in this episode, Patrick is nervous because he thinks his parents are coming to visit, and his parents think that he is really dumb, which Patrick is actually insecure about. So to help Patrick look smart, SpongeBob agrees to act completely dumb for the day when they come over. And it makes sense why Patrick dreaded his parents coming over so much, because they treat him like an absolute idiot.
Son, you recognized us this time. Why wouldn't I recognize my own parents?
But thankfully, right on cue, SpongeBob shows up and he starts acting really dumb, which makes his parents think that Patrick isn't as dumb as they think.
Protective helmet? Check. I'm supposed to look stupid, Gary. What could go wrong?
For most of the visit, Patrick loves the attention. He's finally feeling like the smartest person in the room. But the plan falls apart when Patrick starts teasing SpongeBob too, hurting his friend's feelings. Just as the argument reaches its peak when SpongeBob's trying to prove that he's actually not dumb, another pair of starfish knock on the door. These newcomers reveal that they're also Patrick's parents. And then Janet and Marty have the realization that they don't even have a son.
Oh, that's right, honey. We don't have a son.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's just in starfish DNA to be really dumb. So where did Janet and Marty go? Well, I don't know, probably a nursing home, because I don't know how stupid you have to be to forget that you don't have kids. appearance. But whatever happened to Girly Teen Girl, who made their one and only appearance in the episode The Slumber Party? We get introduced to her at Mr. Krabs' house, when Pearl kicks Mr. Krabs out of the house because she's gonna have a slumber party, which forces Mr. Krabs to stay with SpongeBob for the night. But it's hard for Mr. Krabs to not get curious on what's going on in his own home when he's not there. So SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs go over and try to spy on them.
Leave it to me, Mr. K. I've got the perfect disguise.
Hello?
But although it seemed like a very obviously bad disguise that SpongeBob's wearing, it actually turned out to be a real character who has no known affiliation with SpongeBob, which made fans wonder, could she be a distant cousin or even a forgotten sister? Unfortunately, the show never explained or explored this connection further, and after this episode, she was never seen again. But where is Girly Teen Girl today? My theory is that she moved all the way back to Farawayville like she said in the episode. The creators likely found her character too confusing, or felt she had served her purpose for a single comedic scenario. But what happened to SpongeBob's cousin, Blackjack? Blackjack's one and only appearance is in the episode appropriately named Blackjack, and it starts with SpongeBob getting a postcard saying that his older cousin is out of prison and is coming over, which instantly gives SpongeBob PTSD about all of the memories of his brother beating him up when he was just a little sponge, and that terrifies him, thinking about how much stronger Blackjack must be now.
Just imagine what he must look like now!
Hi, SpongeBob. It's been a while. Good to see you're still a little man.
This makes SpongeBob worried that Blackjack might be terrorizing his parents right now, so he runs over there as fast as he can, just to see that it's all boarded up. And everywhere SpongeBob goes in this episode, he keeps seeing weird clues and getting panic attacks that Blackjack is out to get him, until he finally goes over to Blackjack's house. And when they confront each other, it turns out that Blackjack actually hasn't grown since he was a little sponge. So where is Blackjack now? Well, my theory is that he's still living in Bikini Bottom, and maybe he even shows up in the background sometimes, but he's just too small for anyone to notice him, which I assume makes his life pretty hard. Next, what happened to Plank Crab, who is a weird combination of Mr. Krabs and Plankton, and his one and only appearance is in the episode The Krusty Bucket, and Plankton makes this abomination from using Plankton and Mr. Krabs' DNA in a machine, and he tries to use this guy to steal the secret formula for him, which actually works. But this backfires because in the process, he kicks Mr. Krabs out of his own restaurant and completely takes over the Krusty Krab. But this absolute train wreck of a creature's greed doesn't stop there, because he ends up taking over the Chum Bucket too, and merging them together, turning it into the Krusty Bucket. So now, Plankton and Mr. Krabs have to do something they've never done before if they want to stop Plank Crab and get their restaurants back.
There's only one way to get our restaurants back, Eugene.
You don't mean...
We gotta work together.
So they try a bunch of different things to defeat him. First, they try jumping him in a back alley of the Krusty Krab, but they aren't strong enough to take him on their own. Next, they try making a competitor restaurant, but Plank Crab quite literally turns it into a drive-thru. Get it? So they go in wanting their restaurants back, but after being forced to become toilet cleaners in their own restaurants, they start crashing out and fighting each other, in the process completely destroying the bathroom, which when he sees it, causes Plank Crab to split apart in anger, and then it eventually defeats itself because of their arguing. And it's pretty obvious where Plank Crab went, because in the episode, we literally see him die. But whatever happened to the Hashslinging Slasher? He appears in the episode The Graveyard Shift, and in this episode, Squidward wants to get some revenge for SpongeBob being annoying to him all night, so he tells him a really detailed story about a man named the Hashslinging Slasher. He has a spatula for an arm, and every Tuesday night, he lurks outside. And you know he's coming because first, the lights flicker, then the phone starts ringing and no one picks up. After that, a guy will arrive off a bus, and then finally, he gets you. But what started as an obviously made up story quickly turns into a nightmare for both of them. Because later in the night shift, out of nowhere, the lights start actually flickering, and then shortly after the phone rings, and guess what? Nobody picks up. Squidward starts getting terrified as his own scary story is coming to life, but then, to put the icing on the cake, a bus comes. arms, and a random guy hops off of it. And if it couldn't get any worse, he reveals that he has a spatula for an arm. The Hashslinging Slasher is actually real, and he makes his way busting into the Krusty Krab to get SpongeBob and Squidward.
Can I have a job application? I brought my own spatula.
Yeah, it turns out this was just some random dude, and everything that happened that night was just a pure coincidence. But there's one thing that still isn't adding up.
Wait! If that was you on the phone and you on the bus, then who was flickering the lights?
Nosferatu!
And although this dude, whose name is Nosferatu, seems really random, and he appears in multiple other SpongeBob episodes, for some reason, so he's not a one-time character. But where did my boy, the Hashslinging Slasher, go? Well, he's probably going off to some other restaurants at 3 a.m. to find a job, and scaring the ever-living crap out of people in Bikini Bottom with other made-up stories about him. But what happened to Karen 2, who made their one appearance in the episode Karen 2.0. Plankton thinks his original computer wife, Karen, is too slow, so he orders a high-tech model. This new unit is slim, voice-activated, and full of attitude. Plankton loves the upgrade at first, because Karen 2 can plan sneaky schemes in half the time. Karen, the original, gets tossed out in the trash. SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs find this, and Mr. Krabs, liking anything that's free, decides to take it inside and plug in Karen thinking it's a computer system. And when they plug her in, Karen is really sad, and she wants nothing to do with Plankton anymore. But Mr. Krabs sees this, and can't pass up the opportunity to get some free unpaid labor.
She's efficient, and more importantly, I don't have to pay her.
So, I'm fired?
But later, Karen 2 and Plankton barge into the Krusty Krab trying to steal the secret formula. But then, Karen 2.0 gets distracted, and they start having a fight in the middle of the Krusty Krab. The original Karen ends up winning the fight, and returns to the chum bucket where she belongs. And for Karen 2, she blows up at the end of the episode, getting killed off for good. But what happened to Snelly? Snelly's first appearance is in the episode The Great Snail Race, where Squidward gets a racing pet snail that he ends up naming Snelly get delivered to him. And the reason he does this is because Squidward enters a fancy snail race to show off his purebred racer. And seeing this sparks SpongeBob's competitive side. So he starts off a brutal boot camp routine for Gary. Which nearly ends up killing him. Race day arrives, and Snelly goes really fast and easily takes the win, while Gary, exhausted from overtraining, crawls a few inches and then quite literally completely crashes out. But just when Snelly is about to finish the race, she sees Gary in bad condition and goes over to help him.
Gary?
And after this, at the end of the episode, Patrick and his rock ends up winning the race, and Snelly was never seen again. So where is Snelly now? Well, my first guess would be that she died, because according to Google, snails only live for 1 to 10 years. But this is SpongeBob we're talking about, so since Gary's alive, she's probably alive too. But we know very well that Squidward isn't keeping her anymore after this race, because he just used her to win. So my guess is that she's living somewhere in Bikini Bottom in a snail shelter, hopefully under good care. But next, what happened to Miss Griddlepuss? Miss Griddlepuss only appears once in the episode Banded Bikini Bottom. She walks into the Krusty Krab with her 5 sisters, and they just wanted some Krabby Patties. But unfortunately, their first impression of the Krusty Krab is SpongeBob spinning around and singing about how fun and delicious the patties are.
I like Krabby Patties. I think they're swell. I like Krabby Patties. Can you not tell? Krabby Patties, they're so neat. La 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 la, sweet to eat.
And believe me, fun is the last thing that she wants. Miss Griddlepuss leads a group called the United Organization of Fish Against Things That Are Fun and Delicious. She marches straight to the city hall to complain, and uses her pull with the police chief to get the Krusty Krab shut down that exact same day. But Mr. Krabs refuses to give up. He moves the grill and every table into SpongeBob's house, and runs a secret restaurant at night. Customers pack the place, but Plankton notices this and tips off the cops, hoping to see Mr. Krabs arrested. Officers bust in and start destroying Krabby Patties, ready to drag SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs to jail. Miss Griddlepuss arrives to watch the takedown. At that moment, her husband drops off a fresh patty, and the burger slips straight into her mouth. One bite changes everything. She absolutely loves it, sings along with SpongeBob, and lifts the ban on the spot.
Krabby Patties, I think they're swell. Can you not tell? Krabby Patties, they're so neat. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
Really neat.
After this episode, Miss Griddlepuss never returns to Bikini Bottom. But where is she now? Well, she probably went back home, writing new rules for a club that only allow one special treat: Krabby Patties on weekends, as long as nobody's having too much fun. But what happened to Spongetron, Pattron, Primitive SpongeBob, and Primitive Patrick? All four of these characters pop up in the episode called SB-129, where Squidward goes into a time machine and ends up in several different places. First, he finds himself in the future, in a 100% aluminum coated Bikini Bottom. There, he meets Spongetron, who looks exactly like SpongeBob, except he has clones of himself and can fly with rocket jets. Then, we also meet Pattron, who is just like Patrick, except he has two heads for some reason. Both of them still love jellyfishing, and act essentially the same as SpongeBob and Patrick. So he gets into a time machine, and this time machine accidentally throws him way too far into the past. Before Bikini Bottom even had houses, Squidward tumbles out into a muddy field and bumps into Primitive SpongeBob and Primitive Patrick. And somehow they're even dumber versions of SpongeBob and Patrick. They communicate with grunts, bang random objects together, and even purposely sting themselves with jellyfish. After a quick panic, Squidward mashes the controls again on the time machine to finally go back to his own time period. So where are all these characters now? Well, it's pretty obvious that they were all versions of themselves from the past and the future. So all of the characters are just living in timelines that SpongeBob and Patrick's lives entail, which gets into a whole lot of other things. Like, this means that SpongeBob and Patrick are technically immortal, and have lived since the very beginning of time. But that's a whole nother video for a whole nother day. But back to one-time characters. Next, what happened to Sam Star? Sam shows up in the episode Big Sister Sam. Patrick is humming along outside his rock, waiting for his sister Sam to show up, who he hasn't seen in years, when suddenly the ground starts shaking, and then we see Sam, and let's just say that she is basically Queso's cousin.
Yellow square, Dutch rubber, make Sister Sam mad.
I cleaned my rock just for you.
After she gets out of control, from literally building a new house out of sand, to destroying Squidward's house, and using spare parts from his house to build up their house, it's clear that Sam does not belong there and is causing way too big of a mess.
Sister Sam, rearrange now.
Please don't.
After literally stopping a bulldozer, Patrick tries to reason with his sister, and it's not until she hurts Patrick that she ends up feeling bad and leaves town. So where is she now? Most likely, Sam's roaming around breaking everything and eating everything she can get her hands on. But what happened to Jack M. Crazyfish, who appears in the episode Blackened Sponge? It starts off right away with SpongeBob being really buff, fighting Jack M. Crazyfish in his dream, and after SpongeBob's dream, he goes to the bathroom and gives himself a black eye in the stupidest way possible.
Ooh, what a relief. For a second there, I thought I gave myself a black... I
So trying to disguise this, he goes out with glasses, but when Patrick catches on, he doesn't want to admit how he actually got the black eye. So SpongeBob makes up a fake story about Jack M. Crazyfish from his dream, and he plays it off as being a real thing, and saying that Jack M. Crazyfish gave him a black eye in the most epic and manly way possible.
He threw a giant tire at the back of my head. Then he stood over me to gloat. I jumped up and karate kicked his hairpiece right off of its snaps. He was so ashamed, he ran all the way home.
But after lying to everyone in town, like Patrick, Sandy, and the entire customer base of the Krusty Krab, making his story more extreme every time, he starts to build a really big ego because of his black eye. But then the worst possible thing happens. It turns out that Jack M. Crazyfish is actually real.
He's real.
So SpongeBob runs back home and brings his toothpaste and his wrench to prove how he actually got the black eye in the first place. Which honestly, Jack M. Crazyfish didn't even really care about because he just wanted a Krabby Patty. So where is Jack M. Crazyfish now? Well, my guess is that he's from another town where SpongeBob might have been on vacation one time. And he might have remembered how he looked, thus being in SpongeBob's dream. But he had a British accent, so I would assume he's from the UK. But it's underwater, so I'm not exactly sure how that works. Finally, last but not least, what happened to Stanley Squarepants? Stanley's one appearance was in the episode appropriately titled Stanley S. Squarepants. And at the beginning, he literally shows up in a box, and it's actually revealed that he's SpongeBob's cousin. But there's one big problem. Everything he touches falls apart, quite literally.
Uncle Sherm won't let me watch TV back at home. Why not? That's why.
SpongeBob wants to help, so he brings Stanley to the Krusty Krab and tries to teach him the basics of flipping Krabby Patties. And in less than 2 minutes, Stanley sets the cash register on fire, cracks SpongeBob's spatula, and even takes sus pictures with customers. But after every incident clearly caused by Stanley, SpongeBob takes the blame for it so that Stanley doesn't get in trouble. And in the end of the episode, SpongeBob crashes out and exposes Stanley.
Break my spatula, he did! And I also didn't burn your money, he did that too! I have been covering for him because he can't do anything right!
But this gives Mr. Krabs the genius idea to ship Stanley off to the chum bucket, which ends up working completely as intended, because the entire building gets blown up in seconds. So where is Stanley now? Well, he probably moved on after the chum bucket collapsed. Maybe he joined a demolition crew where he's breaking things as part of his job. Or maybe, most likely, he's being a bum and still destroying everything he touches. Whatever he's doing though, one thing is certain. If Stanley is nearby, stuff is falling apart. But yeah, those are all the one-time characters I could find. If I missed any, make sure to let me know in the comments. But because you made it all the way to the end, you might as well not just be a one-time viewer. So make sure to click that red, juicy subscribe button. Come on, you know you want to click it. I just started this channel, and I'm going to be making the best SpongeBob content for you guys.